Look out, footy's back. G'day, I'm Glenn Jakovich. Wait, am I? No, I'm not. I'm Jaymz Clements. This is the AFL Today Show. It is the Thursday night Teams Boys show. And we are here to make footy a little bit more fun, aren't we? I'll tell you what, I am joined by local weirdos, full-blown footy nuffs. Some would call them AFL experts. Some would. I don't know who they are, but some would. Over there, it's social guy Leo. What's going on, Leo?
Yeah, AFL expert Leo checking in.
Yeah.
Checks out.
I think, the only people that call us experts are ourselves and our mums.
And that is the man. He's
Your mum.
That's a bit harsh.
Karen.
Yeah.
I mean, she made you. You're 4'2" with an attitude.
Why is this a thing on every episode now?
4'2" with an attitude. It's the stats boy, Lee McAllion.
Remind me to never look at your TikTok because that's just very cringe. That's not good.
What?
It's all right.
He's making TikToks like this now.
Mine is big red beard and a prick. Big red beard and a prick.
he's doing
There we go.
it.
Now he's got it.
Yeah.
All right, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see all the good stuff all throughout the week. All our shorts. We did a bunch of them. Some of them were absolute shockers this week, I'll tell you what.
That's the fun of it.
Content is content.
Yeah.
It is. The AFL Today Show across all the socials, wherever you get your podcasts, of course. Now, footy is back. This is round 19, gentlemen. I use that loosely. 19 rounds. This is just a moment in time where you're like, oh, this is where the rubber hits the road, you see?
You little sad, Jim?
8 points.
Nah, it's still finals.
8 points separate 2 through 13.
Yep.
So almost
Crazy.
every game feels like an 8-point game. I love that phrase.
The old 8-point game.
So let's start with some news before we get into the teams and all the game previews for round 19. Now, 5 matches this week are between actually finals contenders, which is pretty
Awesome,
fun.
yeah.
Which, for all the talk, and I was really, really hoping we'd be able to not focus on umpiring and gear like that
know.
in this show. And then Charlie Cameron goes from 3 weeks out to 0
How do you go from 3 to 0?
because he's such a good bloke, stats boy.
What the hell?
It's back. The good bloke rule is back.
I think the right decision was made in the end, but it's just embarrassing by the AFL that they've gone from 3 going, this is really bad,
Yeah.
bad for the game. He clearly should have done better. Don't worry about it.
It's
0.
like they want to be laughed at.
I know.
Like,
What are they doing? They
So-
want Jim to talk about him on our show.
It is weird that Andrew Gill and Dylan just like, Jim, talk about the umpires more, would you?
Yeah.
Talk about more tribunal gears, bro. Come on, what are you doing?
He does sound like that.
That's exactly how he sounds like, and not just like a boring nerd. But otherwise, the point was, Zeitz was tweeting out, basically, it's been successful after the tribunal made an error of law. The reasons were...
What?
The decision of the tribunal really revolved around the AFL tribunal guidelines, you see. It had a particular emphasis, putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
Basically
A.
about rough conduct and sub-rule 3.
Okay.
Basically dealing with dangerous tackles and essentially all the factors that they're sort of essentially the unreasonable aspect of this.
Yeah.
And this was a massive thing in the media today about what would a reasonable person do in those circumstances. And you're like, yeah, try to just tackle.
Yeah, it was an accident. Like, what are you talking about?
And so they've basically just gone the rough conduct and the way that it's explained wasn't correct. And Charlie Cameron basically got off in a technicality. It kind of feels
But
like.
why,
So,
they didn't go through half of this stuff on, when was it, Tuesday?
they're just saying their rules weren't explained
Yeah.
properly. Like, it just seems like a lot of jargon. I don't really know what to expect.
They'll
anymore.
never
Like,
admit that they were fully wrong as well, the AFL. They're like, there was just
Yeah,
a
we'll
few
tick
things
that
in the
one off. We'll
rules.
tick that
We'll
one
just tick it off and we got the right decision in the end. Like, come on, what are they doing?
I think the worst part about it is simply that Charlie Cameron goes from 3 weeks. Is he culpable in any way, shape, or form? Yes or no?
No.
Right?
No, it was an accident, yeah.
Then it's
Clearly.
okay. Then how do we get to 3 weeks? Oh, he had a concussion. So Michael Christian's just like, he had a concussion, you're rubbed out for 3 weeks. Just leave it be them. That's it then.
If that was the rule, then
Yeah,
everyone would be
that's
like,
it, just do it.
okay, whatever.
But not be like, actually, well, you got to do this. And if you're a reasonable bloke, you do these things. And then it's actually, we've screwed this up 0.
So, Jim,
What are you
do we
doing?
have to bring back the is he a good bloke?
Is he a good bloke?
I think on Wednesday you're
Clearly-
like, nah, he's not. Now he
Well,
is.
He's back to being a
Well,
good
if
bloke.
he wasn't culpable in the first place, he was always a good bloke.
Yeah, but 3 weeks on your record. But not 0 now, so it's all good.
So on top of that as well, yesterday, the AFL, very late yesterday, the AFLPA, they're a branch of the CSIRO, CIA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
FBI,
stats guys in it.
Yeah, NCAA.
the MRO. They came out and went, what's going on? We don't know what a tackle is and isn't, and neither do our players.
It's a very good point
Is
by the
that
AFL.
the one Dangerfield?
Dangerfield's the head of that, yeah.
And-
And a few other big names.
That's essentially that. This is a very, very, very interesting point for kind of wonky reasons. Because the AFLPA doesn't often come out and criticise results.
They're usually very
tribunal.
popular.
They're very just
Very
like
supportive.
It's like, you're doing a great job, AFL. Please give us money. Like that's how it goes, right? That's what happens. So they came out like, oh, it seems unclear as to what a proper tackle is and isn't.
It's a fair point.
And everyone went, yeah, we're all confused.
Yep.
And today's result of Charlie Cameron being given 0
We're
weeks.
still confused.
I think we're all still a bit confused.
Yeah.
Hey, cool though, the footy's going to be awesome this week. Can we just talk about like the Dockers having to like take dumps in like
In the basin.
in the basin?
That's what it says on the post.
Good friend of Stats Boys, Dan Cherney, was out there talking
was he?
about how funny it is that 6'10" blokes, it must make them easy to pee in the basin.
That's
of
a good
their
point by
private-
Dan.
Which
Yeah.
is,
Good point.
to be honest though, I mean, 6'10", probably. It probably does make
There's
it
not.
easy to pee
Is there
in the
anyone
basin.
from Freo that's 6'10" other than Jackson and Darcy? Like,
Probably not.
no.
Giant Miss and Josh
be
Treacy
close.
are pretty tall.
Yeah,
I don't think they're 6'10".
No.
I have never been on a private jet. I'm not a PJ kind of guy. I'm much more. I try to keep it relatable. You know.
Oh, you're a common man.
Down with the fans.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm just like you. I'm a normal person.
I'm just like
I'm
you.
flying. Economy always. Jeez, I'm really looking forward to flying to.
He's like Pat Cummins, just for the environment.
going to Noosa and having to like sit a rambunctious 2-year-old in your lap for a couple of hours. That's gonna suck. It's like, can we just book him a flight, like a seat? This sucks.
Do you met Stats guy?
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Rambunctious
coming.
2-year-old.
Yes. Free ticket.
Point being, the Dockers flight home from Tassie last week ran out of water.
Yep.
And this all came out. You're like, oh, that sounds horrible.
And they've got the longest trip in the AFL as well, 4.5 hours, half an hour in. So they had 4 hours with no functioning toilets, no water. The basins were being used for things, unspeakable things. It wasn't good.
The panic that would set in if you've had a couple of beers and you're like, oh, God.
I need to go to the toilet. Would they open?
Give me a rubbish bag.
If the basin
and I'll
gets
sort
full,
this out.
can you just open the emergency door and just go out there maybe?
Well, I always
Why
find
the basin get full?
I don't know. Someone clogs it up with something else.
Stats was out there waffle stomping the
I didn't want to say that.
Who in Freo would have done that?
Oh, 100%.
Luke Jackson?
Giant Miss would have been half asleep doing something like that.
Luke Ryan. Luke Ryan was asleep, you reckon, for most of it. Which is probably the best way to deal with this. Like, try to knock yourself out with like 4 beers and like an Ambien or something, and away you go, right? Don't try that at home, kids. the vibe being just try to sleep through it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how I approach being a dad. Just try to sleep
through it.
It's all good. She'll be right. But it sounds horrible. And
Yeah.
I think dealing with this, I think it still boggles my mind. So the AFL chartered them a flight because they couldn't get a flight from Freo to Launceston. In a surprise twist, there's not that many direct flights from Freo to
No one's
Launceston.
doing that trip.
But they've gone, all right, well, we can't make this work, so we'll charter a private jet for you, and away we go, or a private flight. And it's not like Taylor Swift's private jet.
Yeah, it's
or
not as
something.
nice as that.
And for an entire team just to suddenly you've lost and then your dunnies just
You lose again.
cark it.
What are you doing?
That is just
at least if they won, they could have been happy, but they were not happy the whole way.
Just the Dockers just keep on docking. That was gross. All right, and this just in, we've got some breaking news, boys. That was pretty good. Hey, we talked about how Charlie Cameron got off his 3-week suspension. So did Toby Bedford.
What the hell is
What's
going
going
on?
on?
You know what's going on? They use the exact same argument. I think the tribunal might be broken.
I think it is broken.
They're broken.
There's no more tribunal.
This is it. We should actually just have feats of strength at this point. Just like
That was just a
you got to
waste.
beat Michael Christian in an arm wrestle.
I
Let's
love that.
go.
I love that.
So, Lockie
is so
McCurdy,
weird.
friend of the program, has tweeted
Yes.
out, Toby Bedford is free to play this weekend. The Giants' appeal has been successful. The same argument as Charlie Cameron. There was no evidence given by the tribunal in its findings that Bedford's conduct was likely to cause injury.
But they could have said this, what was it, Tuesday when they had the
An
thing?
error of law.
What are they doing
So
at AFL?
unnecessary just to go, you're suspended now, you're not.
Because I think as soon as the Charlie Cameron, they were like, Kilda going, hang on.
I reckon what they did, they found that spot in the rule book and went, my God, they're right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Let's take this in with us.
Why have they got English?
Because they're a lawyer, son. They're some
My
sort
gosh.
of pirate lawyer, of course. Watch out, you mateys. Okay. Anyway, there you go. Toby Bedford, free to play for the Giants this week.
Crazy.
Not sure how that's going to work in team selection with the Giants and the Suns game on Saturday. We should actually see if he was named because when it does go to appeal, they
think he
do
was
tend to have
actually.
those ones. So I didn't see, he wasn't in the outs, obviously,
No,
right?
he was named, yeah.
So he has been named. So we'll see what happens. What do we reckon? Does this change your sort of vibe on this?
No,
Not
Toby
really.
is not
Unless
that
he
good,
plays
but-
a negating role on one of the Suns' moods.
He has
Does
done a few tagging roles, hasn't he?
Yeah, if he goes to Anderson, maybe.
So Bedford was named on the interchange bench. So there you go. Bedford and Charlie free to
Crazy.
play this week. Absolute chaos. Now back to regular programming. Anyway, let's do some game
Yes.
previews for a pretty chaotic round 19. Because as I said, we have 5 games that actually happen between finals contenders this week, which is awesome because as I said, between 2 and 13, 8 points separate those positions on the ladder. It sets up a lot of 8-point games, as I love saying. The first one is not one of them. Essendon, 10.5-point favourites against the Crom. Adelaide. So we had a big check-in with Simeon Thomas-Wilson on Wednesday's show. It
was great.
Talking about the Crows, talking about where they're at. And it's weird because there's these little peaks and troughs of this Adelaide Crows season, right? Where suddenly they feel like a little bit of optimism and then it all falls apart horribly.
Yeah.
It feels like this weekend might be another one of just it all falls apart horribly.
Maybe.
10.5-point favourites though, Essendon. Only 10.5 stats, boy. That blew my mind.
They
when I
were
read that.
horrible last week. I think even if they sort of got a little bit closer and
It's where the footy, though.
Counterpoint, wet
still.
at the MCG.
This is under a roof, yeah.
At Marvel.
They clearly
yeah.
don't have the players.
You know what they should do?
for wet weather.
Open the roof.
Just let it rain again.
Just
Let it,
rain.
Adelaide. Why is Matthew Nix on the
Or
roof
they
trying to
keep
open
the
that?
roof closed and they just have sprinklers come on. And
My entire
Yeah.
vibe is if you are playing at Marvel, if you are the away team, I think you should have the opportunity to
Choose.
either choose open or
Well,
close.
that's not home ground advantage.
All right, if you're the home team, open or close. I love that idea.
I reckon away team.
I think away
Away
team.
team would be
Come on.
funny,
They're
though.
already travelling.
No, I don't want that for North. If it was against North, they'd just, if it's raining, open the roof.
That'd
'cause
be
North
amazing.
need perfect
Yeah, it'd be
conditions.
good.
No,
Open
thanks.
the roof. Let's do it. So the over-run is 168.5, which again I thought was quite unders because I feel like this could easily be a shootout because we've seen Adelaide at least hang with teams at points this year.
Well, that Carlton game.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
That was
Yeah.
at
That
Marvel
was a
as well,
great
right? It was
game,
like
yeah.
100-98. So
Yeah.
it's hilarious that that's still etched into my brain.
Yeah, how did Adelaide beat Carlton? I just forgot about
I'm
that.
still so angry about it. God.
You're second, Jim. It's all right. Just remember. You're second.
Anyway, this is, however, the Draper Bowl.
Yes.
Yep.
Cast your mind back to, what was it, like round 5?
Didn't feel that long ago, really.
No, it was. Yeah, it was like 5
It was
or
a while
6.
ago. And Sam Draper saves the game by just belly flopping on it. There's a Peter
Can't
Coombs
stand
song.
Like a grenade.
Kids entertainer, Peter Coombs. I love Peter Coombs when I was a kid. I met him as an adult. He was lovely. It was hilarious.
Oh, there you go.
He didn't expect some of my interview questions. It was pretty fun.
It's like every interview on this show.
So he's a legend. He has belly flop on a pizza. That's one of his songs.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Clickety Kane at the end of his like belly flop on a pizza. Ooh. That's what Sam Draper did in the footy. At the
belly
end of that
flopped on a
game, he's
pizza.
like belly flop on a footy. Loved it.
That was bad. That was obviously holding the ball.
It was. But
But it wouldn't have affected Crow's season. They can't complain
also
because they've been
Essendon
crap.
had like 10 more scoring shots.
Yeah, but that's footy.
So
Great
give
analysis.
us some stats.
Yeah, it is a Draper Bowl. Essendon have actually beaten Adelaide 7 straight times, so they'll be loving this matchup, especially when, Adelaide are 14th at the moment, I believe. Laird as well, he's been really good, 30 plus in 13 of his last 14 games at Marvel, so he loves those.
How many meters gained?
I don't really care about meters gained. I think it's the most overrated stat in footy, meters gained, but that's another.
I
that
think
might be
you're the
fun.
most overrated.
Whoa, here we go. All right. No, meters gained, I can't stand. I don't get the hype around that. Peter Wright as well has got 11 goals across his
What
last
do you
14.
mean you don't get the hype around meters gained?
No, because
if you wanted the footy to go one
Yeah,
way,
if you have 30
you've gained
disposals-
meters.
No, but like
if
if you're
you
a half
gained
forward-
minus 47
Yes,
meters
exactly.
stats, boy, what do you think has happened?
Okay.
Have you had a good game?
The territory games.
Obviously,
that's
but then someone goes, "Oh, he's had 300 meters gain." What does that mean? No one cares.
It means he's moving the ball forward.
But there's guys
it means
that
he could be
switch it.
running with his legs.
There's like Luke
Are you
Ryan.
related to Brad Crouch or something? Like, what's going on?
I just think it's the most overrated stat going around. And doesn't mean that much in terms of
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway,
We might have to revoke you from stats. Boy,
I
if you think
don't
that's
care.
overrated.
I just think it is.
Come up with
And
a
then
better
Peter Wright.
stat. Air meters gained. he
Hear me.
says.
Feet gained.
Feet gained. Yeah. Oh, something else gained. Peter Wright has been really good across his last 4 games. Had a stinker
Well, he's
2
been
weeks
dropped,
ago.
So.
Oh,
He's been dropped.
he's been dropped.
He got subbed out last week.
Really?
So
There
in
you go.
comes Jaden Laverde.
I thought I was gonna talk
Toby
him up.
Goldstein. Love a bit of
Wait,
Toby.
really?
Jaymz. Out goes my beloved Bricky.
Heppel omitted.
Nick Hind, Peter Wright, 2 metre Peter, and Dyson Heppel has been dropped as well.
I was going to talk him up because he's had a decent month.
Heppel is also, he's like,
As in,
they didn't actually list him as managed. It was just omitted, which feels like a strange one because they have managed Heppel a couple of times this year. Haven't
he's
they,
older,
already?
yeah.
For the Crom, Tex has actually been managed as well. Mitch Hinge comes in, which is pretty interesting.
That's
I actually
not
don't
good.
mind that for the Crom, but Tex is also the sort of dude who can go, hey, I'm at Marvel. Check this out. I just kick 4.
Yeah, like nice
What are you
conditions.
gonna do?
I thought he would play this
Well,
one.
they've got Himmelberg, Thilthorpe, and Fogarty.
I thought
Wasn't
for
there until that
sure-
point we were just going to go massive?
Yeah. Why did they play 4 key forwards last week? I'm just looking now.
And the
race.
And they run.
Yeah, and they won,
What
yeah.
the hell?
And the Bombers were going to like trying to combat that as well, right? With Nate Caddy
Yes.
as well as 2 metre Peter, as well as Langford. And
They did keep Goldstein out.
so, but they
and-
brought Goldstein back this week and kept Caddy, which is hilarious.
I think
So-
Peter
This
Wright being
is-
out that's a shock. To me.
This is just weird selection. Heppel omitted, like Wright omitted. Like they're going
Especially-
for finals. Like
Yeah.
Especially 2 metre Peter at Marvel, which I feel like
Yeah,
he just
he's-
loves
what's
it
his
there,
record?
right?
That's guy 11 goals in 4
Last 4 games. He did have like 2 pretty easy ones last game. Then he didn't get 1 goal at all the game before.
But it's just strange that like when you're
You-
5th on the
your
ladder,
structure, yeah.
you're going for top
Yeah.
8. It's a pretty bold selection call. This like it could make or break their season, really.
He averages 2.5 goals at Marvel. So that's
Damn.
pretty good for you want that in your team. But he hasn't been at his best. But I think that's a
Yeah,
very stiff.
they still have the tools. They got Harrison Jones, Nate Caddy, Kyle Langford.
Yeah, that's a very stiff.
Goldstein
Arsenal.
as well with Draper. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a big call to make, I think.
Yeah.
How about a big question then for this one?
Sure.
Bounce back Bombers after last week's shocker, yay, nay, or the other big question,
Here we
who
go.
dives on the ball is a bit of a piss take if the Crows win?
After the game, like
Yeah, after the game, you got to do it, right? The same as he did. He pretended
I reckon-
to.
Who is the biggest like?
Big Jordan Butts.
What?
Big
He's the
Butsy.
most quiet guy I got.
Yeah, but he'd just like dive on it and do like a dopey little.
Who's like an
fall-over.
annoying like
Ben
little
Keys.
forward?
Ben
Keys could probably do
Ben
it.
Keys would do it.
Yeah.
He's got that vibe about him.
Stick up for his mates.
If Lukey Pedler was still alive,
Where is
the
Lukey
fan
Pedler? That's
favourite.
why they're
He's
losing.
Injured,
he
isn't
did
he?
get injured.
Bring
I
him
think, a
back.
little ago.
He can, one leg Lukey Pedler is still the goat.
Sure. Is he still the fan
He
favorite?
might be your goat.
Yeah, I love him.
Josh Rochelle could do it. That'd be pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Does Rochelle, didn't he get a haircut as well,
Yes,
Rochelle?
yeah.
Yeah, that stinks.
I just see some big dopey player just diving on it accidentally.
Riley O'Brien.
Riley O'Brien, yeah.
Riley O'Brien's big.
Maybe
dopey.
Thrillthorpe.
Yeah,
If
could
he
be.
did it, though, he'd also maybe just bash up.
He'd
So-
also break the ball if he did that.
Pop
Nice.
the ball.
Yeah.
Any other stats, boy? Let's go, quick.
No, I think we've covered it all. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, for me, offense and defense, the Dons,
Oh, I love
despite
that.
being in the, this is the first time they've been out of the top 4 since round 7 this year. See, these are stats that actually matter. And,
Well, I did write them down.
You're
I
just
didn't
writing some down.
You skipped
But
past
no,
them.
they're outside of the top 4 for the first time since round 7, as
Yep.
I said, which is pretty crazy. They are 11th on offense, 14th in defense, and they're still in the top 8.
That is
That's
wild,
crazy.
isn't it? I
That's
think
pretty
the
nuts.
last
And
month or so is
Crows are
hasn't
like
upped that.
fourth in defense. That's crazy.
They were third a couple weeks ago as well.
It does
Is it-
feel like, though, the Crows, though, every time they play at home, they just like will smash
Ugly,
a random team.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
I think it just
Ugly.
shows though that again, Crows aren't in this finals conversation, and yet a 4th in defense and Bombers are 14th.
Yep.
Like
weird.
it's so close.
Paper Tigers, those Bombers, or the best team in footy. You be the judge. I'm going to go the Bombers by 12. This was 42. Now I've got a couple more questions
42.
about this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the line is 10.5 does sort of scream out, Crows might be in this one. So I think they'll keep it close. Bombers just eke it out. What about you, Leo?
I think Bombers by around 3 goals. I just think they'll keep them at arm's length, especially like the GWS game at Marvel, similar to that, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Bombers by 4 goals. We've seen Adelaide, especially away, they just crumble. So I think it'll be pretty close for 3/4. Bombers too quick on the off half back, and then Bombers by 24.
Yeah, the changes are pretty interesting.
That's just weird,
Fascinating
but
to see
I don't
that.
think that maybe they're trying to try something out because they're like, oh, we can beat the Crows.
Yep.
But then the Crows bounce them when they do these changes. We'll have to.
I just want to see Thrillthorpe just ragdoll some dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
happy
good.
that he's back in the team.
All right, Saturday, GWS versus the Gold Coast. This is one of the Gold Coast, sorry, Gold Coast. Can't say the in front of it. It's like the city of churches. GWS versus Gold Coast. The Giants are 14.5-point favourites. Interesting that it's like under 3 goals. You're at home. You're a team that's won a couple on the trot after a pretty harrowing kind
Been
of
pretty average though, yeah.
mid-season run. Caniglio was out last week, and I believe, is out this week as well. So in comes Xavier O'Halloran for him.
Yep.
For the Suns, Lockie Weller, David Swallow, Alex Sexton in. Out goes Roses, obviously being suspended for just the old wha-bang!
Yeah.
And Alex Davies, same thing as well. And Ainsworth is actually out injured too. It's a bit of a tough one.
Roses learned that from Gary Ablett Jr. Remember when he did two in a row in that season? He got a bit angry towards the end of his career.
I feel like this is a pretty optimistic over-under, 171.5 at NG.
Yeah.
Gold Coast away from home, we've seen them average, 57 points a game, basically. And then they'll throw this game where you're like, they scored 48 points. What are you doing?
And GWS have only sort of just got back to their firepower up front, but they're not still like scoring massive scores.
I think the last time these two sides played, it got to over 200 between the two, but that was at Gold Coast.
Yeah, which is always high scoring, yes.
So the Giants are 6th on offense. The Suns are 7th. That's nice. And defense, they're tied for 8th.
Yeah.
These teams are pretty evenly matched. What could be the line of demarcation? The 28th parallel.
Exactly.
The simple fact that the Gold Coast Suns are away, because where have they not won this season, Stats Boy?
Below the 28th parallel, away
correct.
from People's First and Darwin, yep.
Good job. Give us some other stats though, Stats man.
GWS have actually won 12 of the last 13 meetings. They've been pretty dominant, GWS, over the last few years. 40 and 28 were the margins in the last two, so they've won pretty comfortably. Gold Coast as well, not only have they lost every away game this year, but they've failed to cover the line in their last 14 away matches. So whatever you're tipping here, I'd be tipping over that 14 line, because I know that seems probably, if this was at Gold Coast, you'd go their favourites, but GWS should be, I think, more heavy favourites than 14.5.
Seems like Giants have found a little bit of form too.
Yeah, they've got their confidence back. Jesse Hogan finally kicking some goals again.
Toby Green going bananas.
Toby Green looking like himself. So yeah, should be more. I think the line should be a bit higher.
Toby Green also had had to explain the hostage video.
That was so funny, yeah.
Which was funny.
Yeah.
And then you've got, mouth breathers like Alex. Oh, they're best mates though. What are you doing? It's like, yeah, we all get it. It's a joke. That's what jokes are about.
Tom Harley
didn't think
but Tom Harley's also an idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
and all these Swans fans were commenting on it like, oh, you dog and all this stuff.
You dog.
Yeah, they were saying.
Sending death threats.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, like Cricket Today.
But Toby Green has been flying, so that's handy. And he's also not had a bad run against the Gold Coast Stats, man.
Yeah, Toby Green's got 3+ in his last 3 matches against Gold Coast, so he loves playing against them. Noah Anderson as well. Although this one is away, we've talked that up in SuperCoach and in general stats that he loves dominating at home. He's had 26+ disposals and 10+ clearances in his last 2 games against GWS.
Is he a barometer?
Of if they win or not?
Yeah.
So if he's had a couple of good games away though. He dominated against North, and we still won North. So I wouldn't say
any excuse to bring that up, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we don't get many wins. So.
Yeah, but where was that played? So I think
Melbourne.
the barometer is what's quite literally the barometer saying, like, where are you and what is the atmospheric pressure? Who else is a really good player at home? Lukosius maybe, or those type of players that dominate at home and then do nothing away. So I think they're the barometers.
Yeah.
Well, the big question for this one is obviously quite simply, can the Suns beat the Mystic Forces of the 28th parallel and the Giants?
No.
It's
too strong. I think they don't even believe it anymore. They're like, oh, we'll just win at home. We'll rock up because we have to rock up to games away. We're going to lose. We don't have any belief. Dimmer doesn't even have belief.
Dimmer wants them to grow up.
Yeah.
How many swears does Dimmer use?
No, he's not allowed to. He said sorry to his mum. Did you see that? He said sorry to his mum. Yeah.
If I swore during a press conference, my mum would be like, that was pretty good.
Jim's mum listening to him.
That was imaginative. I like the 3 words that you threw in between the swears. It was good. I'm taking GWS by 4 goals.
Yeah, I've gone around the same. I just think they'll have too much.
GWS by, I'm changing it, 31. I think they're going to win pretty comfortably. Gold Coast away are just shambles.
This is a hilarious just combo on the early Saturday games as well. Because again, why wouldn't you have them overlapping? Because that would make way too much sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So they're going to start at exactly the same time at 1:45 on Saturday. Where we have St Kilda versus West Coast. These two just scream out. Like,
this is
you've
an
got
ugly game.
The expansion bowl in GWS and Gold Coast.
Yep.
And then you got St Kilda West Coast, which is still burned into my mind of like when West Coast nearly beat them last year.
Yeah.
Out west though. And so the Saints are 25.5 point favourites against the West Coast. West Coast, not the West Coast.
I think it's fine.
Marvel, 1:45 p.m. Over-under is 163.5, which again feels very, very high to me.
Got to go under
high.
that. Yeah, surely.
No, well, there's actually a couple of pretty interesting changes here as well because I think the J Train is out, isn't he, for the Weagles?
He is.
Yes. Jakey
Oh,
Waterman goes
no.
out.
Yo.
Out goes Yo.
Yo, Duggan, Waterman.
Duggan and Brockman
They're
all
cooked,
out.
the Eagles. I'm changing
In
my
comes
tip.
Campbell Chesser, Jack Breccicelli, and Josh Rotham and Jai Cully. So
Have you seen? There's like a stat every team's like barometer, like in terms of who wins like the most when they're in their side.
Oh.
Josh Rotham is like 3 and 5, and he's the
What?
most for West Coast.
Really?
when
So
in the
they're
team.
going to win, is what you're saying.
What I'm
Maybe.
saying is they have like a 40% chance of winning this
Okay.
game.
in for the Saints comes my beloved Hugo Garcia.
For
you still
SuperCoach.
got him in?
SuperCoach, you little ripper.
I feel like Jim
Actually,
never
that might-
traded anyone from his bench. He's still got everyone.
Well, I ran out of trades that long ago.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay.
I'll give you a boost. Don't worry.
Liam Stocker, my beloved Liam Stocker, Brad Hill and Hugo in for the Saints. Mateus Philippou, injured.
Oh, that's brutal. 4 weeks.
Breaks your heart.
Been their best player.
Ben Patton's been dropped, and Ari Shoemaker as well, which stinks because you feel against the Eagles, he could just kick 6 from inside the centre circle.
Yeah, he's got a big kick.
He just go
Haven't you
bang.
seen
He
his
just
kick?
gets
I know,
the ball
he's
roasted.
got the biggest kick, but he's not kicking 6.
He could.
He'd be lucky to have 6 kicks.
From inside the centre circle, he just kick it. Let's go. I
thought you were gonna do- I thought you were
That's his position is inside the center circle.
Yeah, just that handball.
Don't go out of it.
Saints are 5th in defense, 15th on offense. That sounds right. The Eagles are 17th and 16th.
Well,
So,
that's why I'm not going the over. You got the 15th versus the 17th offense.
Gross.
No thanks.
Stats boy, give us some more stats.
Yeah, West Coast, poor old West Coast. West Coast have lost 26 of their last 27 away games, and they're 1 and 6 in their last 7 at
Who
Marvel.
predicted the win?
What? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Nailed that
you
one.
did. Yeah, you did. Then the Saints have covered the line in 4 of the last 5 meetings, and their first meeting at Marvel since 2021. I think it's the last 4 meetings have been at Optus. So they don't come here as that much the last couple of years, West Coast. So it'll be interesting to see how they go at Marvel.
Oscar Allen 2+.
Yeah, you love Oscar around 2+. These bobbleheads there again. 2+ in 4 of his last 5 meetings and 3+ in his last 2 games. So we're going to have to call him, if he gets another 3+, it's Oscar Allen 3+.
I
not
would
2+.
love it if he becomes Oscar Allen 3+.
And then,
I'd be all about
like
it.
3 weeks after that, he'll be Oscar Allen 4+. He'll just be going up. Mason Wood as well. He averages 17 disposals and 2 goals against West Coast.
He's also massive with Philippou out as well. And no
Oh, is that same
Max
role?
King. So
Yeah.
Mason Wood, 4+.
Let's
Goals.
do it. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? The big question here is, do the Eagles actually get Jared Schofield to win this year?
Oh,
doubt it.
let's have a look.
It's a bit
They
of a
play
rough
North
one.
again, but that's in...
The Harley
Melbourne.
Reid Bowl.
The Harley Reid
Whoa,
Bowl.
Harley Reid, Bam Lamb. Whoa, Harley Reid, Bam Lamb. The North Melbourne Roos didn't want him.
I might take a Harley Reid sign to that game.
What would it say?
You can dress up as Harley Reid.
I will pay $8 million a year for Harley Reid. Should I do something like
But
that?
you wouldn't. You hate him.
No, I don't like him actually. Yeah, get out of my club. Who are they playing? So they're playing Saints, obviously this week.
Loss.
That's a loss. Freo.
Loss.
Didn't they win the last derby?
Loss. They did.
They did win the last
So
derby.
they got
Loss.
a chance in that. Probably a loss. West Coast. Oh, sorry, Gold Coast. Sorry, Gold Coast. At home. Because Gold Coast don't know how to win away.
Suns will win that one.
Ooh.
Even though it's below the 28.
I reckon they got a chance against
They've got a
Gold
chance.
Coast. North, I don't
Loss.
think so. Carlton.
Loss.
And then, no, that's the last one.
Interesting.
Two Carltons.
That must be AFLW. It's mixed into the
Yeah.
fixture here.
I don't think we...
No, it mustn't be
the
Carlton.
Final round. I think we played...
Google's
Second.
Google's tricked me. Anyway,
I don't know if they do.
I don't think they're going to get a
doubt it.
win. No.
Tough one. I'm going to go the Saints by 14. I think this is a little bit closer than we expect. The Eagles sort of stick with them, and then the Saints, they might actually get a bit of a scare, and then the Saints just hold on as they sort of kick away and get up.
You thinking the same?
Yeah, I think Saints by about 8. West Coast surprised me with being able to stay within reach of Brisbane last week.
They were really
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
But
that was
again,
at
that
home.
was at home.
But they didn't seem like they were threatening enough to win the game.
Yeah.
So a bit lesser opposition. They could cause a little scare.
Also, isn't this, so this is alternating week Saints. So 2 weeks ago, they beat Sydney.
Yes.
Stoke
Yes.
last week, got smashed by Port.
Isn't that the
bounce
Dogs
back.
theory?
Yeah, the same as the Dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, there you go. You're going Saints as well, Stats
Yeah,
Boy.
Saints by 30. I know that they don't often win
that
by a
sounds
lot,
about
but you said they were good last week. Eagles don't have Waterman, Yo, and Duggan. I think have been 3 of their best players this year. So that's a real worry, especially Yo. Yo literally sets up all their goals.
78-48.
Yeah, that's something like that. Yeah. So
Big one at the MCG on Saturday afternoon.
Huge.
Hawthorn versus Collingwood.
The
The
Hawthorn.
the
Gentlemen.
Hawthorn versus the Colts.
The Hawthorn versus the Collingwood Magpies. The Hawks are 1.5 point favourites now.
Oh, what?
This is swinging
No,
around.
that seems fair.
Damn.
It is a big game. The Ginnivan Bolt, 4:30 the G. Over-under is 166.5. You might remember there's a pretty famous match between these two teams at Gather Round.
Yes, you
Final
were there.
game of the round. I was there on the hill, smashing tins,
Yep.
causing all sorts of havoc, just delighting in the sheer look of terror on all the Pies fans' faces
that would have been a
around
great
me.
win if Hawthorn got
I
it.
might have gotten punched in the back of the head if they had lost as well. I'll tell you what. Jeez. The Hawks, though. Leo, your team.
Yep.
Offensively, 14th, which feels a bit unders, but I mean, that also was a really slow start. I feel like with most Hawks things, we should take all their stats from round 6, 7 onwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as
then sort of-
North played him into form, I reckon, that week.
Yeah,
Since you played us, you just dominated since then.
Whereas the Pies are 7th on offense and 12th in defense.
That's bad.
The Collingwood Magpies, the reigning premiers, the defending champs. I do love it when people, they've got to defend the crown. It's like, they don't take away last year. It's not a wrestling belt.
Even if they don't make finals, a Pies fan go, we won last year.
Exactly.
We still got that over here.
Stats boy, give us some stats.
Yeah, Hawks have won 5 of the last 8 meetings, which really surprised me. They've got a decent record.
decent record.
Pies won earlier in the year by 5 points. That was obviously when Hawks were just really charging back, as you said before. Pies have only won 2 of their last 7 games, though. They've just that downward spiral. So many injuries and things like that. Dylan Moore, your man, Leo.
My favourite player.
Your favourite
Dylan
player.
Moore.
Averages 18 disposals and just under 2 goals versus the Pies, so he'll be
Of course he
fired
does,
up.
mate.
Of course,
he does.
he probably averages close to that against every team. And then Josh Dacos, he's hit 20 plus in his last 10 matches. Just a bit of love for Josh. We always talk about Nick. Everyone's like, Nick 3 votes when he hardly even gets a touch. Josh Dacos, he's just Mr. Consistent.
He might hardly get a touch this week because Finn
Yes.
McGuinness
Yes.
is back.
Oh, he's
And
back,
So
is he?
has
Yes,
Ginnivan as well.
love him.
Outgo Cam McKenzie and Harry Morrison. Not to be confused with Harvey Morrison.
Or
Yes.
Harvey Harrison, who's also
Harvey.
out.
Watch out.
There's no Harvey Morrison.
He is. Harvey Harrison's out for the Pies.
Oh, there you go.
there you go.
Hilarious. Dan McStay comes in, so does Jeremy Howe and Lockie Sullivan. Not bad. Out goes Lockie Schultz, however. One Lockie in, one Lockie out. Those are the rules. And Billy effing Frampton is,
That's what the fans call
that's what they call him, is out as well for the Pies. Those are 2 big ins. Obviously,
Yeah.
McStay and Howe are huge for the Pies. But McGuinness comes in to give him the old clamps. You want to use these clamps that I use every freaking day of my freaking Finn McGuinness life? Yeah, we do. Scrimshaw's 100th game. But the big question, I guess, is like the Ginnivan Bowl. What do you want to do? Do you want to do the Ginnivan Bowl? Like, does he just like fire up this crowd? How
Maybe.
big will this game be? Because
I think it's going to be a massive crowd.
A lot of unknown with
It's
this
going to be
game.
huge.
Like,
It's going to be cool.
And then does Finn McGuinness do a job on Dacos? Because I
think he will
love
because
the idea of that.
he's in his head. He's in Dacos' head now.
my big call's based around that.
Oh, okay.
Well, he knocked him out of the Brownlow last
Yeah,
year.
he
Broke his
did.
leg.
Well,
That was James Blank, and that was also an accident. But yeah,
Well, on purpose.
tell Pies fans it was an
It
accident.
was on purpose. What about is another talking point is Darcy Moore? Does he have to man up this week and take the big be the big
who's
defender because Billy Frampton
is guarding
isn't playing?
Chol. So there's Chol and Kalshadir.
Okay,
I think
true.
this could be the game that gets him back into form.
Well, is he going to fire up this week and then everyone's going to be like, oh, Darcy Moore's good again?
They could.
Mabior Chol.
He's been good this year.
I'm just like, what was that movie that had like Wesley Snipes and Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh, you've brought this up before. I can't
Or like
remember.
Dennis Rodman and
Yeah.
like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No
like
idea.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I'm like, that's like they're just like the double team. It might have been called double team. Like, it's awesome.
They've been very good.
Yeah.
Like
Mabior
by their
Chol's
own
been great.
Culture D
standards.
is awesome.
And he's fun to
I
watch.
Just
do.
like 2 in a
I'm
minute last
very
week.
excited about Kalshadir. Chol's been good this year, but it's it's like that
Like,
key
Ollie-
forward pairing.
Yeah.
Darcy Moore could come back into form.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Any other stats there, stats man?
No, I think we've covered it all. We've got enough.
Should we go
Enough stats for this one.
Should we go over under on Dacos touches?
Oh, okay. We'll go.
Josh?
Are we going 30? Is that the over under? Or 28?
28.
28.
28 and a half. Over?
I'll go under.
I'm going to go under too.
Finn just tear him up.
Clamps.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Hawks by 14.
I'm going
14.
Hawks by 3. This is going to be an all-time game. One of the best games of the year. It's going to be 83-80, I reckon.
Well, I hope you're right, but I think Pies equal this one.
Oh, come on. Your favourites for the first time like in 10 weeks, Leo. Come on.
But just Pies have lost 3 in a row. Their season is on the
Yeah.
line. They need to stand up in front of a big crowd, and I think they will.
All right.
It would be a real shame if they lost, though.
It would be a real shame.
Huge shame. But that, again, this is another one of those 8-point games because these two teams are tied on 36
The
points.
loser of this has to basically win every game to get to 14
Yeah.
wins.
I think whoever wins this, finals hopes are still well and truly alive.
Yeah.
Whereas if you lose, you're out.
If you lose this one, it gets a lot.
Yeah,
you're not,
pretty
you're
much
not out mathematically,
No,
but like
but
you're probably not
It
gonna
gets
make
up very hard, yeah.
Saturday night. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Geelong take on the Dogs. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Keep it going, Jim. The over-under for this one's 168.5. The Cats are 13.5 point favourites at Taxpayer Stadium down there in
Goomba.
Geelong. GMHBA, 7:30. This is a really fun Saturday night clash.
It is.
I love that
Cats
this
and
is-
dogs.
I love that this is a Saturday night one. I think GMHBA also looks really good under
At
lights.
night it does. I've been there a
it's
couple
one of
of
those,
times.
to be honest, it also looks good during the day. Like
It's
I
a
don't
nice
mi-
stadium.
It just looks good. Looks
A lot of
luscious.
feral fans, but it's a very nice. Stadium.
Definitely with the
geez.
stadium upgraded.
Yeah,
Looked a lot
they got
better.
lots of good food there.
Probably
as
need
well
another
compared to other
4.5 mil
places.
for another scoreboard though.
Yeah.
The Cats are 4th on offense. The Dogs are 5th. Don't mind that. Defensively though, the Dogs are 7th and the Cats are 12th.
It's going to hit the over. Telling me then.
The over under 168.5. I actually don't mind the over because
yeah.
the Dogs, I mean, they were very, very, very good against the Blues last week.
Yeah.
Kicked away eventually, and that was with a makeshift sort of backline. So if we look at the ins and outs for this
Yes.
one, we have
Big ins for the dogs.
The games are
Couple
all
big
over the
ones.
shop on the AFL site. Just to
income,
shout out to them.
Adam Treloar and Aaron Norton. That's pretty big.
That is huge.
That goes Harvey Gallagher and the other Garcia, Riley. Out goes
He was the
Garcia.
unused sub.
In goes
So
Garcia.
are both they're the same person, the Garcias.
But he was the unused sub last week, Riley Garcia.
Weird.
They didn't get him on the ground.
Oh, that's a bit
scenes.
stiff.
Yeah, very stiff.
Couldn't prove himself.
I think he had 40 touches in the VFL the next day too.
Oh my god.
Mitch never
Get
comes
50,
in for the
mate.
Cats. Jai Clark's been dropped. So, which
That's
is
a weird one.
odd, but I mean, it means my beloved Lawson Humphreys and Ollie Henry are still there. You also have the Sean Manor from Heaven.
Yep.
Named
He's
on
been
ground.
going really well.
Let's
the
go.
last couple
Love
of
me
weeks.
some Shawnee Manor. Stats boy, give us some stats.
Yeah, Cats have won 16 of the last 17 home games against the Dogs. Dogs did win there last year, so they'll be fired up with that. I think I was at that
It was
game.
a
Yeah.
bit of a nothing game last round.
Last
Dogs
round, yeah. It was
needed
when
to win for finals.
Cats
but
had a
they
lot of
still
outs, so take that with a grain of sand. The 16, they've pretty much smashed
Grain
it in
of
there.
sand?
Grain of salt, that's what I meant to say. Grain of sand. I'll take
was
it with a
weird.
grain of
Yeah,
sand.
it's the
if you
same
want.
thing.
Yeah, if you're at the beach, that works. Dogs have failed to cover the line.
Let's put some sand on your food. We'll see if it's
Yeah,
the
why
same
not?
thing.
Yeah, it's probably healthier. Dogs have failed to cover the line in 6 of their last 7 after a win. So we were saying about how they never can back it up 2 weeks in a row. They just don't know how to cover the line in those after a win.
I'll pay that. Jezza also doesn't mind going to town on the Dogs.
Jezza has 46 goals in just 15 games against the Dogs. So that's just
Not
over
bad.
three a game against the Dogs. He loves dominating. Then Bailey Dale, obviously was the sub, was getting dropped at the start of the year, and then Bevo finally came to his senses.
Bevo a genius. He's
No.
dropped him and he's put him into form.
Well, I don't know about that. He's had a lot of 30-plus games and then 25-plus in his last 5. So he's been really good.
Yeah, that was one of my tab stats for the SuperCoach. He's like his projection's only 86. It's like that doesn't take into account
No.
he's been tearing it up.
He's
Yeah.
been getting 110 consistently. Yeah.
So I guess the big question for this one is like, so the Dogs did get 2 on the trot 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Before they lost
very
that
rare,
horrible
though.
game to the Power, right? And then they came out and beat the Blues, whatever. The thing is, one of those 2 wins on the trot came against the Roos.
And I think they're the buy in between. So I don't know if that
Doesn't really count.
Win- So they've gone win, loss,
They've
win, win, loss, win, loss, win,
Yeah,
loss,
round
win,
14 to
loss.
round 16. So they had a bye, so they skipped their loss. 1, lost, 1. Can they put together 2 wins?
No. If this was
Yeah,
at
but-
Marvel, I would have tipped them.
Yeah.
Or even at... No, not at
even
G.
then, like I just can't trust them to be consistent.
Oh, they're
like,
so inconsistent. That's
using
yeah.
your line. I can't trust them.
Yeah.
Can't trust
I haven't said that in a while, to be fair.
Flip side, Geelong. GMHBA hasn't been quite the fortress it has been in the past.
No, but...
We saw them lose
Against
to
the
what,
Dogs.
Port and the Giants.
Giants,
this
they
year?
always
Yes,
lose to the
yes,
Giants. so, yeah.
Giants.
Was it Freo? I can't remember.
think it was Giants this year.
Giants, definitely. But the sort of big question there is like, this is a huge game for the Cats. If they win this, they're in the catbird seat. That was a good one. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're Cats. For a top 4 spot, because you're basically sitting pretty with the Blues on 44 points.
Yep.
Basically tied for second.
Dogs also have a really healthy percentage. So if they win this, they'll be pretty confident to make finals, I reckon, if they win
Yeah,
this.
for sure.
I'm still taking the Cats by 23. Stats boy?
I'm going Cats by 9. I think they match up really well. Geelong won the clearances last week because Collingwood were woeful, but I think the Dogs will still win the clearances, so this will be a bit closer. Cats by 9.
Cats
Leo?
by 10. I just think the Geelong forward line up against that makeshift Dogs back line, you just can't really go against that, can you?
Yeah.
Did all right against the Blues last week, but then Charlie kicks.
I think the Blues kind of, they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
That's what's that over there? It's my foot. Bang! Off they went. Port Adelaide take on Richmond in the second game on Saturday night. 40.5 point favourites are the Power
Ooh.
at the Adelaide Oval. Over under is 167.5. It feels like the Power could do that by themselves if you could trust them.
Oh, nah.
don't know if this is going to go
They won't even
over
get
that.
they'll get 100 maybe.
Maybe. 9th in offense are the Power. The Tigers, 18th. Tigers, 17th on defense. Power, 10th. This is not a great game. To the point where I've not even written a big question for this.
Oh, we've got about. We can come up with a big. Something about Ken.
Basically, a lot of it's going to come down to this is a big Power bounce back because you have to prove that you can. Like,
I think if they don't win this,
if you smash Richmond, we're like, okay,
you're
fine,
right.
but we don't learn much anyway.
What's the line of like? Obviously, the line's 40 here, but what for them to for the fans to believe that they're good? Yeah,
I don't think
maybe 30.
30.
No, for the fans to believe they're good.
Yeah, if they win by, but the thing is, they could win by 80, and we're just like, you're meant to do that.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to learn a lot from this game.
True.
It is a tough one.
30.
I just don't trust them at all. So
Yeah,
they're so annoying.
No Dusty again for Richmond. In comes Seth Campbell, Tommy Dow, Caleb Smith. Out goes Nicky Vlaston, Tim Taranto, and Jack Graham. That is
Pretty rough. Pretty
Not
rough.
great.
Still
Where's
no
Dusty? Bring him back.
He's got a bung back.
Bring him
He's
back.
just played his 300.
I think he's
like,
just
I'm
going to
out.
Bali or something.
Yeah.
Checks out.
Or
For the
Vegas.
Power, Radaglia, Georgiades, Rioli, and Dylan Williams. In out goes Lockie Jones, Kane Farrell, Todd Marshall. Bit of friendly fire there. And Jeremy Finlayson done for the season. Interesting setup. Power should win this pretty easily. Stats, we got some stats for us.
Yeah, Power have won the last 3 meetings comfortably by an average of 24 points. The Tigers, though, have covered the line in their last 4 matches against Port at the Adelaide Oval. So
Weird.
they're really confident there. But yeah, this is a whole different Richmond team this year with so many injuries and just been so bad on bottom of the ladder. So it's a bit different. Georgiades as well. That's a really big in. I was hoping that he was in for Port because he's kicked 3+ in the last 3.
He was suspended for 1 week.
I forgot about that actually. Yes.
So he was sat out his 1 week.
He's out his 1 week.
Came back.
Yeah, I forgot that he actually got suspended. He's kicked 3+ in the last 3 Port home games, so he loves playing there. And then Prestia has had 25+ in his last 4 meetings with Port. So I think if you're betting on things like that, 25+, especially with Taranto out, you'd lock him in for 20.
What if he gets injured?
He does like getting injured. The meatball.
He does like getting injured.
What is he doing?
That is a strange setup. The Georgiades 3+, I've been all over that.
At home especially. Yeah,
Like chicken on rice. Like
4+, I'd back him against
He's
Richmond.
awesome.
As well.
I love me some Georgiades. The big question is like really what could you even learn from a smashing from Power? Like to be honest, I just want them to look slick and good and put him to the sword.
Like guys other than Rose and Butters fire up.
Could just be a bit of team bonding.
For Ken, a smile on Ken's face.
I've got
I
Port
don't
by
want that.
40, which is actually where the line is. I just realised that.
there you
Leah?
Port by 31.
Nice. Stats boy.
27. Richmond know how to hang in
Richmond
games.
by 27.
No. Port by 27. Thank
If you are going to have overlapping games, like this one's not a bad one to have overlapping, but still, like just start it a half hour later. Like what are we
you
doing?
can
here?
end on that game.
Just like
or
go at
start on
halftime and go, oh, yeah, they're getting killed. I'll sit here and watch this, and then I'll go back to the cats and dogs.
Yeah.
That is 7:30. Like, what are we doing? Why is that at 7:30?
It could have been 7.
So angry. There's a half hour time difference. It still starts at 7:30 over there. What are you doing, you morons? Anyway, Sunday, another massive. This one is actually probably the biggest game of the round.
It is.
Despite Cats and Dogs being a good one, Hawks and Pies being a good one. Brisbane versus Sydney. Alex is going to be there. The Swans, a half-point favourites at the Gabatoir.
Since I just checked on some of the companies.
Ooh.
-2.5 Brisbane favourites since
It's
Charlie
swung the line 3 points.
Since Charlie Cameron has been back in the side. I was like, I better
Shock
check that.
face.
Yeah. Shock.
3 point
Is that how we're
favourites.
doing it now? Just emojis?
Just a shock face. Live emotion.
Man talking.
Yeah.
Cry laughing.
I've got redhead emojis now, so that's good.
Hey, racist.
They do.
179.5 is the over. I found that very interesting. 179. Like, do you trust like Brisbane at home? We've seen that free flowing offense a lot of the times. The Swans, this is like the weird thing for me is that this is a day game. Like 110
I
on
like
Sunday.
it, but
I love that it's a massive random big day game. But do you think that lends itself to an over or an under? That's my question.
The day games, especially up there, it's not as greasy, so I'd be saying over. But that's a really, really high over for, the Swans are number 1. They're only allowing 72 points a game. I still think Brisbane should get at least 90. I'm going under. I think I'm going
stats,
under.
like the offense and defense stats, it should hit the under.
Yeah, that's what I think because both teams are really strong defensively, obviously both really strong offensively, but I think I'm going the under.
So last 2 matchups, Brisbane won 97-81.
Okay.
Prior to that, 113.89. So
Both going
prior to
under.
that, 125.94. So
Okay.
they've only played once in the each year the last 3 years though.
Yeah.
So it's not a common matchup is Brisbane Sydney,
No,
which is
no.
weird.
Good kit matchup.
It is a great kit matchup. And this is a great Sunday kit matchup, a Sunday day game kit matchup.
Yeah.
You expect Drew Morford on the call. You got Brisbane Bears.
Sandy
running
Roberts.
around. I love this. Sandy Roberts, Sunday specialist. Love
Yes.
that. Any other stats there, Stats Man?
Yeah, you said it was a day game. Lions have actually won 21 of the last 22 day games at the Gabba. I think that stat is a bit skewed because usually they play crap teams during the day and the really good teams at night, but still they've got a really good record during the day. And they've also won the last 5 meetings against the Swans, which surprised me a little bit. Sydney are 1-5 in their last 6 at the Gabba. So they don't like traveling there, even though they've had really good record.
The last 5 at the Gabba?
I might have had to say that.
In 2021, Sydney.
Yes, sorry, it must have been at the Gabba, yes.
Yeah.
Stats going.
Yeah, all right. I've had 20 other ones.
So the Swans, first in offense and defense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prime candidates for being the best team in 150 years.
Well, no. Yeah.
Hater. Why are you such a hater? Why do you hate the Swans?
I can't stand just because of Alex. I used to like the Swans, and then Alex was on the show.
He has that effect on people. Brisbane, offense 3rd, defense 6th.
Still very good.
Chucky Cameron sticks around. Happy days there. Your ins and outs for this game. Extended bench, Brandon Starcevic. Not bad. My favourite, though, Devin Robertson.
Why is he your favourite?
The rig. He's got the rig out, boys.
He's going to take his
Henry
shirt off.
Smith, out for the Swans, obviously. Justin McInerney goes out. Callum Mills has been managed. So he gets his
back.
1 week run.
That is weird.
And our friend of the program, Jaymz Rowbottom, is out injured.
Cheeks is out.
My good mate Cheeks
Damn it.
is out injured. This stinks. Harry
Send him a
Cunningham.
message just to.
I'll let him know. Just like, we still love you, buddy. Harry Cunningham comes in for his 200th game. Well, he's plays his 200th, which is very cool. Isaac, the Hangman Heaney, comes in, obviously. Corey Warner, the lesser Warner. The Harvey Grant. The Michael B. Jordan,
The Josh Dacos.
The Josh Dacos.
No, that's
Caleb
Josh.
Mitchell, Aaron Francis, and Sam Reid on the extended bench as well. This is a fascinating setup. The big question is the Gabatoir back? Is it?
No. They have been horrible there this year. This
they
is
have
the
not
worst
been
they've been at the Gabba in, I'd say, 5 or 6 years. So, I can't agree with that. If they win, then you could go, all right, they've been a good team there, but still, their record this year has been
They
appalling.
eked by against Melbourne.
Yeah,
Only recently.
and that was a very
Well, they
worrisome
only
game.
eked by Adelaide.
Exactly, yeah.
2 weeks ago.
and Adelaide. So, it definitely isn't back. No way.
So this is the sort of setup. I trust Sydney more than I trust Brisbane.
Yep.
And like Brisbane, if they win, I'll start trusting them more. It's not quite
They've
chicken
won,
and the egg, but
is it 6 in a row they've won now?
They've looked awesome.
Yeah.
Yes,
At least they
yes.
look back and back close to their best, but they're not anywhere near their best.
But the teams that they've beaten, so they beat West Coast last week.
Yeah.
They just beat Adelaide.
Yeah, it was a bit of a worry.
They just beat Melbourne. They smashed Port. That's fine. They beat St Kilda at home at the Gabba, and they beat the Dogs.
So that's
Pretty handily.
one or two finals teams really in that 6-game run. So that's interesting.
Prior to that, remember they lost to the Hawks. So just saying.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
You guys always beat Brisbane.
I'm taking Sydney by 4.
Sydney by 4. I'm going Sydney by 3 goals. I think they're about that. That should be the line, I reckon. Brisbane should not be favourites in this one.
Leo?
Yeah, I think Swans by 4 goals. I don't know. It's just something about the Lions. They just seem a
At
little
home,
off.
yeah. Average.
Even though they've won 6, they just
But they've
see
played some-
spurts of their great football, and
Yeah.
then you just, I don't know. They can't really put like West Coast away, for instance.
Yep.
So I'll give you some names.
Okay.
Who do you trust? So on the road for Sydney, you go to the Gabba. Who's kicking their goals, do you think? Is this a Logan McDonald game? Is this a Chad Warner, Errol, like the midfield? Hey, we've all just woken up and kicked all the goals like we did in that random game against, like, what was it, Essendon or whatever.
Marty's fallen asleep since he kicked 9, so I'm not trusting him.
Will Hayward pops up,
Will
kicks
Hayward.
2.
Will Hayward maybe? Yeah, this could be. I think it's Papley.
This is a Will
'cause
Hayward legacy game.
I think I'm going Papley. I think the bigs for Brisbane are always really good, especially at the Gabba. So Papley could get off the chain a bit and get a few crumbing goals.
Amadi and Hayward. I'm going.
Flip side against the Swans defense, Hipwood, Danaher, and of course Chucky. Who do you think wins that battle? Like, can one of those pop off? Because we've seen basically Hipwood, Danaher, like exchange popping off.
Dano's not got a great record against Sydney. I had a look. I think it's like 10 goals in 8 games. So, like, that's okay, but it's definitely lower than his other games.
Does Lockie Neal get tagged? Does he get the James Jordan
I
experience?
think so.
Yeah. So that'll.
Or Zorko.
I think Dunkley's
potentially.
going to have a huge one because if Lockie Neal gets tagged, then
I reckon Kai Loman could sneak a couple as well.
This game's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. And we'll have live insight, I believe, from Alex.
yes.
So, Middle Sunday game. Freo Melbourne. Wow, this one's going to be a barn burner out west. 15.5-point favourites are the Dockers at Optus Stadium. 3:20 p.m. on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. 154.5 is the over-under. Now, Freo nearly hit that by themselves in Alice when they smashed the Demons.
Feels like that was just like 6 weeks
I know,
ago. Yeah.
92, I think it was. A 92-point
jeez.
win that was.
Absolute chaos
Crazy.
here. What was the final score on that game, actually? Now, I've already made the joke.
141-49.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. How the hell did you remember that? I read that
numbers,
before.
mate.
Just
Funny.
Rain Man
numbers.
over there.
Rain Man, yeah.
Footy numbers.
Footy numbers, yeah.
141-49. That was absolutely absurd, Leo. So the 154.5 at Optus Stadium. This Freo team, God, they make it hard to trust them.
I know. At home, though, they're good.
At home, though, they'll smash Melbourne, I think. And it's hard to sort of see this Demons team going, well, we got that one without Truck and Gawn. And what are they going to do now with, I'll tell you what, Jack Billings is back.
Teams,
sure.
Yeah.
Adam Tomlinson,
Sure.
Bailey Laurie and Tom Fullerton. They've actually gone for a big. And Taj Woden goes out, extended benches, of course. Josh Draper's out for the Dockers. Tough one for Alex. Alex Pearce is back, though. Sean Darcy is back. Brandon Walker and Will Brodie.
There's some good ins, yeah.
Will Brodie named on the bench, but obviously Sean Darcy straight back in. Alex Pearce straight back in as well.
I don't know if Fullerton will play. They didn't even. Oh, maybe because it's against Darcy and Jackson. They might just
Jackson.
bring him in just in case because of the two big guys.
It's an interesting one. All right, Stats Boy, give us some stats.
Yeah, Freo have won their last 10 home matches against the Ds. Obviously, that last one, 92 points, that was away, but they just absolutely dominated them. Melbourne, though, have covered the line in 15 of their last 17 matches as underdog. And when they are underdog, Clary has had 25 plus disposals. Last 12 matches as an underdog. So like last week, were they a fair big chunk of them were underdogs. So that really surprised me. Jaymz as well. We love talking up Jaymz. He's got 4 goals, 3 goals in his last 2 games against Melbourne. So and he's finally kicking accurately.
Well, he kicked 1-3 last week.
I thought it was I'm thinking the week before.
He missed some gettable shots.
That's right, yeah. I don't know. He's got the little stutter going sometimes.
I thought he was normally when he put an accurate kick.
Well, so you're trying to tell me that there's something
never misses.
A miss.
Yes, there is.
It up.
Yeah, you really did.
He sometimes misses, yeah.
You missed that joke. The big question for me is, will the D show up, or is this last week was the last gasp? Oh, we'll show them, boys, kind of vibe in that awesome win against the Dons. I know, it's an interesting one. What do you reckon?
Got some good wet weather players, as you mentioned before.
Was it going to be wet?
No, very rarely is it wet at Optus Stadium. I can have a look at that for you.
Yeah, I feel like they've just sort of left it all out on the field last week.
I think this is the inevitable come down. They get.
It's going to be windy, apparently.
Windy.
Who does that suit?
I
don't know.
Probably Freo because they used to. It's always windy.
It's always with the Freo
Docker.
Docker.
What are they named for?
Yeah, but it's not. The Optus Stadium's not in Freo, but yeah, that's a different.
Oh, no, doesn't matter. I'm still taking Freo by 32. I just don't trust the Demons at all. I think last week was really cool, but it was very unexpected.
Yes.
And I think the way they beat the Bombers, it was such a backs against the wall, Truck and Gawn out, who was going to stand up kind of vibes. This is a lot tougher flying all the way out west against a Freo team that's just smarting from a Hawthorn loss.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Freo by over 5 goals.
If they can do it again, though, Melbourne, then the whole season
can Gawn
just
get back in the
changes.
side when they make finals?
Okay, well,
You're right, because Melbourne, a lot of their finals hopes and dreams probably hinge a lot on this over the next 2 weeks. They lose this, they're back behind the pack, they're back out of the 8.
Crazy.
If Freo win, they're back probably in the top 4. If Brisbane lose, and if Carlton or the Cats lose as well.
chaos.
Who knows what happens, but that's the best part about this time of year and basically this season as well. Stats Boy, who are you taking?
I'm going Freo by 25. They'll be fired up. They shouldn't have lost to the Hawks. They'll be fired up from that plane where they didn't have any water. I was going to say something.
They're still dehydrated.
They're still peeing in basins. They're like, what are we doing, AFL? We're going to show you. We're going to be back in the top 4.
Maybe they'll pee in every basin from here on out.
Yeah, maybe. That's just their lucky charm.
It's their way of life.
Yeah, maybe.
I
Freo
was
by
going to
25.
ask Stats Boy if he's ever peed in a basin. I'm like, he's way too short. Like, he'd have to be like...
Wait, I got a good
here.
stream on me. I reckon I could.
He's like aiming for the
Got a
roof.
good stream on you.
Just drop it in a bucket. Like,
Yeah.
Show
It's
me.
3.0, yeah. I'm good from 3 point. All right, Leo, I'm not, enough of me.
You're
I'm rattled.
hosting now.
Yeah.
Freo by 17. I think they'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Just like Stats Boy in a basin. All right, and then finally, the last game of the round, Carlton taking on the North, Melbourne
Blockbuster
Kangaroos.
Jim, me versus you.
Get a little fight stance going.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, one of those classic boxer ones. Versus.
I'm trying not to laugh.
37.5 point favourites are the Blues at Marvel, 4:40 p.m. on Sunday. 183.5 is the over-under on this one.
That
because
is very big. Oh, my God.
Is it, though? I mean, they've had a couple of these games between the two of them. 137.81 earlier this year.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
107.84 last year. 114.64 last. They 164, 118.
It's North Ball.
Is just under, but the last two have gone over that line. So, and then you think that Carlton, with the second-ranked offense in the competition at 99.2 points a game, up against the 18th-ranked North defense, might pose a bit of a problem.
The
there,
15th, versus 18th defense is just pretty shit. The fact that Carlton are 15th in defense
is shocking.
Is so bad, but they're second and they just go, we're just going to score 120. So, yeah, they were 13th, 14th. The last 3 weeks, they just keep going down.
Cats are 14?
Yeah, 12th.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the Blues have given up just consistently enough
100 points,
bad 100-point games.
90 to 100, they always concede that.
Basically, because they're like, we'll try to outscore you. Check this out. And sometimes it's working, sometimes
More often than not.
It works.
Last couple of times it hasn't.
Yeah.
But they are propped up, I think, in the last couple of weeks by holding Richmond to 70 points, right?
Yes.
And it should actually be a lot worse. But before that, like they held Essendon to 70, Geelong to 75.
Okay, it's not as bad. That's not that bad.
But the GW, like on the road in GWS, that sucked. Giving up 116 and just being blown out of the water after the first quarter.
Yeah,
basically their last 7 quarters have stunk. And so this is the, hopefully, fingers crossed, get right game against
Surely,
Geelong. The same way it was for Sydney, where they lost 2 on the trot.
We're just getting the good teams back into form, I'm telling you. We got the Hawks into form. We got Sydney back into form.
So give us some stats, man.
Oh, I don't like talking about stats with North Melbourne. I will anyway. North have lost last 23 matches against Victorian teams. Just woeful.
Oh, my God.
Lost the last three to the Blues by an average of 40 points. Carlton's last 8 matches have gone over the total points, as we mentioned.
Yep.
Really good offense, really crap defense. So you're going to go over, even though it's 183, you're going to go over. In this one, Curnow, he averages 15 disposals and 2.5 goals against North. McKercher has also had 30 plus in 4 of his last 5, so he's been really good. Him at Marvel is so exciting to watch. He's going to take a lot of bounces. But this is going to be an absolute smashing, I think.
So in for the Blues, Jesse Motlop, my good friend, George Hewitt, Dave Cunningham, Jack Carroll, Sam Durden. That is the extended bench, and they've named like 3 small forwards, so that's a lot. Brody Kemp is out, dropped after a pretty rough last couple of weeks. Zach Williams is obviously out injured as well. The weird thing for me there is that Jack Martin did not come straight in for Zach Williams.
That's
so
a
they
weird
did
one.
name Durden and Motlop maybe in that spot in place of Zach Williams. Jack Martin obviously recovering from a calf injury.
Martin, he didn't play full VFL last week, so maybe they want him to
just give
have
him another
week.
week or two. The interesting one for me is that they've named Tom de Koning as the primary ruckman, but Pitto is still on the team. So I wonder if he does on the extended bench just slip off.
Yeah, he's on that extended bench.
Oh, we got some big... Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
And then for the Roos, Zach
Very
Fisher,
good. No.
revenge! Jaden Stevenson, Slevo, Jaden Stevenson, Griffin Logue, Will Phillips. Who's he going to give the clamps to?
Sam Walsh probably, yeah.
Robert Hansen.
Robert Hansen Jr. I'm excited by. Griffin Logue is a huge in, just another big body. I think he's a very good player. Curtis Taylor dropped is a joke. Jaden Stevenson should be dropped from our club. So the fact that they've
Not
dropped
coming on the show.
Jaden Stevenson, he doesn't wear his sleeves every week now. I don't know what he's doing. He's lost his powers. He's lost his powers. He forgot how to play footy. Curtis Taylor dropped is horrible, but I'm happy that Will Phillips is back.
Isn't Taylor the sub?
He was, but I think he's a very good player. Anyway.
I am slightly worried about the size of the Carlton backline against the size of the Roos forward line. Like even Teakle, like
he's been really good.
He was awesome last week. Like Zerha's obviously like very up and about. Same with Paul Curtis, and then you got the big Suva in the middle. Whereas Carlton at the moment are basically rolling with Weeders as the big tall, and there's very little else because it's Marchbank, Newman, Chincotta, Cow, and like that's not a big back line at all. When McAllion's not there.
Marchbank's pretty big.
Maybe that's why Durden has to play.
Nice one.
Well,
Tough scenes later.
he might have to.
He might.
Either way, it's pretty weird, pretty gross. How many does Charlie kick?
Quick, how many does he kick?
Quick, does he-
7 goals, 9 behinds.
I reckon, to be honest,
16. If he has 16 shots, I'll be walking out crying. I don't. Jesus.
I think if you flip out and reverse it from last week, 7-3.
He's not that accurate. I'm going to say 5-4.
Not bad.
Because he's going to kick a lot of points still.
Is that our big call?
Any other
That's
stats?
not a big call.
Man,
He's
quick?
playing against North Melbourne. No, that's enough stats, I think. I don't want to talk about North Melbourne.
I'm going to go the Blues by 6 goals, 36 points.
36. Nice.
I reckon Blues just under 5 goals.
Ooh, I'm going to go Blues by 39. They just cover that line. And yeah, second half, they'll dominate.
Nice one. It is a tricky, interesting, weird one, especially late in the weekend.
Yeah.
You just like, Carlton just win.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, I hope not, but they will.
All right, let's do a big call for round 19. I said last week that the Dogs would beat the Blues and then the Blues would run the table. I then talked myself out of the Dogs call because I'm a moron. So I changed my mind and was just very, that's annoying. So I called it last week. Blues hopefully just keep running the table. I want to keep that one on there just so they stick with it. My two here are Luke Jackson, boots 4, in a bit of revenge against the Demons. Zach Fisher gets 25 plus disposals. Revenge! It's revenge week.
And North win.
And then the Eagles also scare the pants off the Saints and big questions start getting asked about Ross Lyon.
Nice. He's just putting in
If
more.
they win, I don't think you'll have big questions.
He's just putting in more big calls each week to try and get one. We all need to get a big
call
call
for every game.
Yeah.
Big call stats boy.
Jezza, he loves playing the Dogs, as I said before. I think he'll do a bit of everything. 4 goals, 20 disposals, and 4 clearances.
4 clearances.
Yep. He's good because they every now and then they put him in the middle just for a bit of crash and bash like they did with Tom Stewart lately. He's going to go in the middle, 4 clearances, career
It's
high.
very hard to get a clearance.
He's had 3 clearances his career high. He's going to get 4. He's going to have 20 disposals and he's going to kick 4 goals.
So it's
big
a
game
big
from
call.
Jezza. Yeah.
I think we're going too big with the big calls.
No, that's all right.
Speaking of revenge, Jim, Nick Dacos revenge game.
Oh,
So
what are you doing?
Let's discount the Adelaide game. What was that? Why are they playing in Adelaide? Last year, 5 disposals against Finn McGuinness. McGuinness killed him. Hawks won.
Well, yeah, he got injured. Yeah.
Well, they destroyed him for 3 quarters.
Yeah, true.
This will be Dacos's comeback. I reckon
Ooh.
30 disposals and 2 goals. And I think that'll get the Pies over
McGuinness
the
gets
line.
subbed out?
No, he won't get subbed out, but he might change roles a few. And
Okay.
Pies players will be more alert to the tag because they didn't seem alert to it last time.
Yep.
Nice one.
I like that. You're very negative towards your Hawks.
It's not negative. It's a big call.
It's a big call. Yeah.
I like it.
We could still win and he has 30 and 2.
Okay. Fair call.
Round 19. What are we keeping an eye on in this round? Revenge. We're keeping an eye on
There's a common
revenge.
theme here.
He loves
There is a
revenge. He
lot of
talks about
revenge.
revenge on SuperCoach all the time
There's
as
so
well.
much revenge. I love revenge. Just if you cross me,
Yeah,
revenge.
Al's just like, I don't want to.
Adelaide, Essendon. That is a revenge game. The Sam Draper Bowl.
Yep.
And this is also like Adelaide did also really give the Bombers a run for their money last year when they played at Marvel. It was 115-97 in the end, but you might remember that Adelaide, I think, were leading early on in that one, and it was a chaotic game. And obviously the one earlier this season, you've got the Ginnivan Bowl, you've got the Draper Bowl, you've got all these bowls going on. You've got the Zach Fisher Bowl.
But said no one
Sunday
ever
afternoon.
has.
Can't wait. That's going to be awesome. But you've got all this revenge sort of stuff floating around. I want to keep an eye on that because just weird stuff happens. It feels like I think we've all tipped the exact same teams to win this week, and that is
Have we?
not going to work out.
Oh, you tipped Collingwood other than that.
Pies
Yeah.
Hawks, yeah.
Old mate put a mocker on the pie.
How have
so
we
good
all
job.
done except for one game? That's wild.
Outside of that, the Lions, are they for real, for real, for real? If they can win this, if they beat the Swans, they can make back-to-back grand finals from here.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it solidifies them as a genuine contender. They are the genuine
Yeah, but they
article.
can't win in Melbourne, so not happening.
Still.
Yeah.
If Freo can reassert its defensive dominance against their bunny team, the Demons, you'd
Yep.
love to see
I
that.
love
It'd be
bunny
interesting to
also.
see if they can come out and lay the smack down. The Suns on the road.
This
Just
is out
keep-
every week, yeah.
every week. If the Suns are on the road, keep an eye on them because weird stuff's going to happen in that game. What are they going to look like? The fight of the dogs. I like this. Bit of dogs fight. How much fight are we going to see in the dogs?
That's a different game that you're betting on.
Maybe.
Dog fighting.
$20. But on the road, GMHBA, like so much of their season will probably come down to this game.
Yep.
Like if you can go down there and beat the Cats,
They'll be
that's
fired up.
huge for the dogs.
Yep.
And it sort of basically quietens a lot of the questions that will inevitably
Yeah.
arise.
Then they'll lose
If they
to
can
someone
beat
bad next time.
Carlton and then the Cats in back-to-back weeks. That's massive. And then finally, obviously, the Ginny Cup, the Pies-Hawks game. I want to keep an eye on the crowd number.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big
I
crowd.
think it's
yeah.
going to be huge.
I'm very intrigued just by
You'll be
like
there?
the atmosphere, not just around the crowd,
Few
but just
boos.
like on the in the game. Like what's going on? Like I don't know. I feel like there's gonna be a lot happening.
There will be.
He's up and about. He's giddy. Look at him.
Yeah.
I'm Guinea.
He's like
Guinea.
he's Josh Giddy. They were hanging out at that Boomers game against China as well.
What, Guinea and Giddy?
Giddy and Giddy.
What a
I thought he
combo.
was talking about me and Giddy.
Yeah.
That's when.
Those are some big things to keep an eye on. So, Supercoach thoughts, vibes. There is some weird Supercoach games this week, and the vice captain loopholing is a little bit wonky. So here's some projections for you. Bont, 130.
Ooh.
Whoa, Errol.
I like that.
He might go and score 142. Butters at 136. Lockie Neal on his way to a third Brownlow, 134. 128 for Isaac Heaney. Tom Green is projected at 123 at home against the Suns, which I actually don't mind because you've got that just
They don't play defense.
Just
They're
absolute, bruise-free footy.
Yep.
The Suns, on the road especially. You're at home. I don't mind him as a left field vice captain on your Saturday afternoon early game.
That's what I'm doing for vice captain. He can only go up from 40% efficiency. Surely
40%.
That's what he was. That's why.
Yeah,
So he had
37
37 touches
last
93 Supercoach points. That is, so
boy.
if he gets 37 touches again this week, he's going to eclipse that 121-30.
But if you have Zach Merritt, I think he is a lock-in
one.
for your VC on Friday night against the Crom. He's at 126, I think, is projected for him. But he could easily go massive against that Crows midfield, which I don't think is that wildly defensively inclined at all. And I think Zerett's record at Marvel is quite outstanding as well.
Yeah.
But I'm still at a bit of a loss. We talked this out on the Supercoach show, you and I, Stats Boy, on Monday with Al. And it is a bit of a tricky one this week, right? Like, who are you going to go with, Leo? What are you vibing on?
Oh, the Tom Green, you've kind of convinced me there.
Oh.
But also Nick Martin as a left field shout tomorrow night. I don't mind. Under the roof.
With 142 last week.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually kicked it that well in wet weather because he can't kick it well in dry weather.
No, so maybe he's going to be bad this week.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Weather specialist, question mark?
I think Bont as well is just a safe pick Saturday night against the Cats.
Yep.
And I think he's gone for 30-plus touches each of his last two against the Cats.
Yeah.
Let's have
If you want to play it safe, I think you've got to go Bont.
I think I'm going to go Tom Green, the VC, early Saturday Arvo, maybe into Butters Saturday night.
Ooh, I'm going to go Tom Green into Bond. I just had a look. 141 and 146 his last two against the Cats.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Have you made any trades this week?
Brought in Luke Jackson. So I know everyone had him probably 10 weeks ago, but I finally just needed an extra
me with Heaney.
It was either Jackson or Kerner.
Nice.
And I don't trust Kerner after this week.
Well, even with...
After this week.
Sure. Without Gorn named, I'm still rolling with the wildly unique Luke Jackson, Ned Moyle.
The only one to have Luke Jackson and Ned Moyle as his
don't
rocks.
mind that.
It's good, yeah.
I don't trust. I'm not as stoked when Moyle gets like 56 this week at GWS, but we'll see.
No, he'll go well.
Either way, Supercoach is going to be pretty chaotic this week. So this is where the rubber hits the road in your leagues, stuff like that. So keep an eye on it. Did you come up with a captain? What was yours in the end?
Bond. Yeah, Bond.
Nice.
He loves playing the Cats.
All right. Good. There you go. That's it for the AFL Today Teams Thursday show. That was a fun one. Lots of teams, lots of stuff to talk out, lots of paying into basins. Stuff. All
too
right.
much of that.
That is it for the AFL Today show for this week, though. We'll be back on Sunday night, though, to wrap up all of the round 19 action, including probably the live ladder, which will just be one more headache as we look at it going, oh, my God, what is going on? But either way, thanks to social guy Leo.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you to Stats Boy.
Thank you.
4'2" and an attitude. All right. Remember to smash a like across all the socials. See us doing lots of fun stuff. This week was particularly fun. Get around all of the shows that we do as well. What is it? The Cricket Today podcast with these dingai. The Football Today podcast with these dingai. NBA Australia with this idiot. And NFL Australia as well as Hold All Tickets. All the good stuff. Subscribe, star, and like all of your shows across your podcast app, YouTube, all that good stuff. Get around them like the crew on the flight trying to like waffle stomp a Sean Darcy log in the dunnies. Jeez.
That would be brutal.
That is, I don't get paid
I didn't
enough
sign
for
up for this. I'm just an air hostess.
Well, that's the best part. Well, not the best part. That's how this story came to light, right? Because like the airport workers union arced up and went, yo, that was the worst.
Yeah.
It
was.
What is going on? So either way, that's it. We'll catch you on Sunday night for the AFL Today show's Wrap Around 19. Until then, look after yourselves, go Blues, and footy's back. If you like this show, make sure you check out all the other shows on the Sports Today network, from the AFL Today Show to the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, as well as NBA Australia and NFL Australia. With Sports Today, your sporting needs have never been easier to cover.